So Charleston White just did an interview with Adam 22 on No Jumper where he dissed RealToonTV and also gave me credit for starting off his career and OG Percy's career in the same breath.
But everything you're describing makes it sound like you're describing how you'd be on good terms with the Crips, but then we all know that soon after you did a little bit of a heel turn and decided to start offending them at every turn, right?
It wasn't a heel turn. So what I did was I used to go live walking on Hoover Street every day telling the Crips outside of California, y'all not real Crips. So I would go back home and tell my local Crips, nigga, because at the time, RealToonTV, the Bob Supreme, they was doing a documentary on the Crips and the Bloods. OG Percy was emerging, and I was dissing them niggas because they was nobodies. They was dope fiends, right?
Real money in the room. This is the documentary that Charleston White is talking about.
Only who could really gangbang was the dope fiend babies. Mom knew was on crack.
We didn't get the education. We didn't get the knowledge of cripping. We didn't get that.
The rest of the gangs around Texas, they don't really know nothing. So they learn from us.
It wasn't just about who was going to go home lumped up this weekend. It was about who was going to make it home.
It was shit to do before the Crippin' and Blood got here. It was shit to do, my nigga.
Now, first and foremost, before I even go any further, I want to just say this. The difference between me and Adam 22 covering gang content is I don't have what they call white privilege. I don't have the privilege to, I'm going to do this content and then it's over with. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to gangs, I don't get to go to Burbank and say, hey, I'm done with this and I can avoid black people. No, like it's so intertwined out here in Texas to where everybody has some type of association or affiliation or relative where somebody is banging some kind of set. And so this is my real life. This is my real life. A lot of people may not feel like, oh, well, Toon ain't an active gang member. Why is he dealing with gangs? The biggest problem that we have in the black community is that we not supposed to speak on certain things that affect our community. We not supposed to take the time and understand the things that affect our community. But guess what? It's our community. So I don't give a damn what a nigga think.
So now I'm going viral because
I got a lot of shit for saying that OG Percy used to be a crackhead.
He still is a crackhead. So what ended up happening? I'm getting into it with my local Crips, right?
Right.
I had moved after the Nipsey's funeral. I remember that there was speculation where they wanted to change either Slauson Avenue to Nipsey Hussle, and I remember the '60s putting up a push against that. And now ain't nobody bigger than Set, cuz. So I remember hearing that. So I never looked to California. I always went back home and said, y'all is not real Crips, because what I saw living here is these niggas here don't get to age out the game.
Right.
The OG Percy's and all them other back home, they get to age out. They get to go play grandfather at 60. These niggas out here can't do that. It's still repping at 65, 55. Where the niggas back in Texas, once they do their time, come home, they don't do like these niggas. So what I realized is that's these niggas game. They the realest, they the strongest, and anything outside of California ain't real. So I went back home with that message. And I disrespected the Truman Street Blood. I disrespected Joe Blood. I disrespected everything locally that Real Toon was trying to put out there. So what ended up happening?
So he was trying to glorify it.
He was trying to glorify.
You decided to tear it down.
Yeah.
Just because you realize that the LA version.
I find this to be very interesting because Charleston ain't lying. Like, he right. I ain't even gonna lie. Like, I'm gonna call a ball, a strike, a spade. Like, I wasn't per se intentionally glorifying it, but I was fascinated by it. Because I'm like, why are these kids claiming something that they've never, like they've never experienced or they've never seen? Like, I've never seen Hoover Street, but yet I'm a Fire Deuce Hoover. I've never been to 60th Street, but yet I'm a rolling 60. And then you got adults claiming this, right? And so I went to LA and I found out the same revelation that Charleston White found out. And that's one of the reasons that caused me to go back and do the documentary and the research that I did in addition to J-Dub's death. Now, I thought it was a game up until J-Dub died. When J-Dub died, I realized, oh, this ain't no game. This serious. And after J-Dub died, death, murder, death, murder. That's what followed. So I'm gonna give Charleston White his props on this one. He basically explained how I brought him in the game. Like, the documentary that we were doing pissed him off so much to where he was willing to come back home, call out the people who was in the documentary. He ended up getting an interview for the documentary. So Charleston White is in the documentary. You know what I'm saying? OG Percy, this is their first time really being exposed to the cameras. Before them, I was interviewing the lil homies or the killers, the young people in his hood that gangbang, right? Because the rappers in Fort Worth gangbang. Like, you can't be a rapper and not gangbang. So it was like synonymous. I'm really interviewing artists, but the gang culture was so strong. The only thing that I don't like about the video that Charleston did with Adam is, bro, how are you gonna say I'm glorifying anything, bro, when you just had somebody who you have a podcast co-host that was arrested for murder? And Hefe, arrested for murder. Like, all y'all talk about on No Jumper these days, at least, is gang politics. At least 3 times a week. Modern gang politics. If you look at that documentary, I was covering the history and really telling the story of how it came here. People aren't looking at the sociological factors like that I'm mentioning, the Great Migration, the drug trade, the prison industrial complex, like the reasons in which it spread. Y'all more focused on the mess than the message. What I will say is this. I had a fallout with Percy. By now, everybody know. During that fallout, in my video, I cried. The sad thing here is that people think I'm crying because I lost Percy. I'm not tripping on Percy. If I had $50, I could get Percy back. Percy can be bought, bruh. Percy ain't solid like that. If Percy was solid like that, we wouldn't have fell out. Because there's no way that you done made all this money with me and I've done all this stuff for you without asking for anything in return. Like I say, I set up to say cheese. I didn't ask him for nothing off top. I didn't try to middleman to play. I just deliver it to your hand, right? So, saying that to say, I wasn't crying for Percy. I was crying because I was watching an old interview that I did with Charleston White. And he said something that got me, man. When he was talking about that documentary, I lived that. And I understand a lot of people feel like, man, don't let them see you sweat, Toon. Don't let them see. That's one of the problems in our community is we can't be vulnerable. You see, prior to Fort Worth, I've lost a few friends that I went to school with. But it wasn't until after we graduated that people really just started dying. When I was covering Fort Worth, people that I was dealing with were dying in real time. That I had real relationships, real connections that I was building. And that messed me up, man. That messed me up. So much so that I'm going to replay the video of me crying. I'm going to replay the old Charleston White interviews. This is probably the most authentic you'll ever get Charleston. Charleston can't even give this version of himself anymore because that's just how God was working with him. You know, he done got the money now. He's a different person. He's grown. He's matured. But at the same time, this Charleston right here, this dude like a prophet. Because what he said then is still relevant today. The club in which J-Dub shot that guy at is the same club in which the security guard who was just murdered at the club in Fort Worth last week was at. Check it out.
It ain't too many standing before this with righteousness in their heart, really repent, really have redeemed what they done wrong in life. Them got on here to take stage, my nigga. They didn't get on here to show the ugliness of this done. They got on here to beat on their chest. Not to show tears and not to show pain and scars. So, man, I ain't living how y'all think this shit don't end well. Go back and look at them niggas. This shit don't end well, my nigga. And ain't did nobody get on here and say how it ended. They still kind of glorified it. Shit don't end well. Look at Weasel. It don't end well. Look at Billy Ray. Look at Bobby Reed. Shit don't end well. Tell the whole story. They won't tell the whole story. Them had the punks to survive down there. And ain't nobody ever got on here and said, yeah, man, I had the punk. No who went to prison have ever came out and admitted of the punk, and you know they done it. But that's the ugliness that don't nobody want to tell about that ugly truth, my nigga. They rather hear comfortable lies. So it was a lot of comfortable lies told.
That's Charleston White talking about my documentary for the documentary, right? That was when I was shooting the documentary. What he's saying, y'all ain't have to live that.
But everything you're describing makes it sound like you're describing how you'd be on good terms with the Crips, but then we all know that soon after you did a little bit of a heel turn and decided to start offending them at every turn, right?
It wasn't a heel turn. So what I did was I used to go live walking on Hoover Street every day telling the Crips outside of California, y'all not real Crips. So I would go back home and tell my local Crips, because at the time, RealToonTV, the Bob Supreme, they was doing a documentary on the Crips and the Bloods. OG Percy was emerging, and I was dissing them because they was nobodies. They was dope fiends, right?
Only who could really gangbang was the dope fiend babies. Mom then was on crack.
We didn't get the education. We didn't get the knowledge of cripping. We didn't get that.
The rest of the gangs around Texas, they don't really know nothing. So they learn from us.
It wasn't just about who was going to go home lumped up this weekend. It was about who was going to make it home.
It was shit to do before the Crippin' and Blood got here. It was shit to do, my nigga.
Like, maybe I am too emotionally involved with the content, but it's like, y'all ain't seen as many deaths as I've seen in such a short amount of time. Bugatti Casino baby mama, Shantavia. I met her, I think we was on the way to film a music video for my boy A Money out of Eastwood. Weeks later, bam, mother of five, baby Kari. First video I did on the south side of Fort Worth for Murda Gang PB, he was there. You know, needless to say, more names. He was 14. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy. They were on my camera. I'm one of the last people to I don't know, bro. It's weird, but what he's saying is the truth, right? But I did this for J-Dub. When J-Dub died, like, he's 17. He was really 16. He just turned 17. He died 2 weeks after his birthday. Said I got him killed. Charleston is about to explain how the security guard that got killed in Fort Worth, that same club,
that young kid was. I admire his heart. I admire his tenacity. I admire his boldness. Misguided, undecided, looking for direction at an intersection, right? So, I know the kid because I'm from Stop 6 at the Classic Lady. I used to see him. And he looked like a kid. He looked like a kid, huh? So, allegedly, this kid went inside of a strip club and shot a grown. Went inside of a strip club and shot a grown. And went in the studio, made him a goddamn song about it.
Swing him in the club and you might end up pop. I don't know what happened. A nigga got shot. They say that a nigga got hit. Say the club got shut down 30 minutes right after midnight. Some young nigga made a boy get right.
And the shooting made the newspaper. What the f***? Me working with kids. Wanna know, man? The kid ain't wrong, right? I ain't never mad at the kid. Man, what grown let that baby in that club with that gun? What grown done that shit, man? And what grown around that little nigga, man, won't tell him nothing. So I get mad at the club, man. I'm gonna shut that club down, make them lose their liquor license. So I go down to City Hall. Nigga, I'm in City Hall every week, every Tuesday. I'm in City Council meeting, talking about something to them white folks, about what's wrong with my neighborhood. Man, somebody let this stupid ass boy go in there with a gun, shoot this other boy, and he made rap songs about it.